Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernier, the DRF.com Formulator Race of the Day for Thursday, October the 26th is race number 6 at Santa Anita. Let's take a look at this field of downhill sprinters. Head on over to the Race of the Day event page on DRF.com, download your free Formulator past performances, and handicap along with us as we take this field in post-position order. Matt, the number 1, Doc Curlin, claimed out of his most recent race at Delmar on August the 27th. That race was only at 5 furlongs, but he is very capable going down the hill.
Yeah, 2 for 3 lifetime going down the hill at 6.5 furlongs. That most recent win came at the N1X level. Now he moves up to non-winners of 2. Other than the distance isn't going to be a problem. I just have a little bit of a concern, really. Is he quite as good as maybe the top 2 or 3 runners?
I think that's a very fair concern, considering that he's kind of reached that high 80s buyer plateau. And I think in a field like this, you're going to have to hit the 90. He's only run 13 times. Maybe he'll improve off the claim, although claiming off Baltus isn't easy.
No, not at all. And even for somebody like Bob Hess Jr., who does a fantastic job
Absolutely.
off the claim, it's just one of those things where I look at it and say, you know what? I think he's interesting underneath. I don't know if he's really a win contender.
Now, the number 2, law-abiding citizen, he is capable of reaching a 90 buyer. He did so in his turf debut going down the hill. Unfortunately for him, that race was way back on March the 24th, so he's going to have to deal with a lengthy layoff.
I like this horse a lot. I think there's a ton of ability here. You brought up the biggest concern. Mark Glatt does really well off of extended layoffs, but at the same time, you wonder, going down the hill, you've got some other horses in here that have got some speed. He figures to be forwardly placed. I wonder if he's going to feel the effects of that, being forwardly placed in a race where maybe there's going to be a fair amount of pace signed on. I wonder if he feels the effects.
Number 3 is Tribal Fighter. Tribal Fighter can be forwardly placed. He can also sit from off. That versatility should serve him well. You're going to throw out his last race for 2 reasons. 1, it was on the dirt. 2, it was on the dirt against Roy H., who's going to be one of the favorites in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. You go back to his race 2 starts back going down the hill. That was a rock-solid win. It was the slower division of entry-level optional claimers, however, and this is another horseman plagued by layoffs throughout his career.
Yeah, many layoffs, like you said. And that run 2 back from a buyer standpoint, not far off in 89. I think that's probably going to be pretty darn close to what it takes to win in here. I guess the only concern I have is it was against weaker company. You see some of the horses that came back to run out of that 76 buyers, 82 buyers. I think they're a little bit light as far as company is concerned. He's another one I would use underneath.
A real sharp horse is the next one we'll discuss, and that's the 4, Anatolian Heat, who has won his last 2 starts, including down the hill on October the 5th. He's earned buyer speed figures of 90 or better in those 2 races. You have a formulator fact that you're going to want to discuss. I got one. It's a limited positive one for Peter Miller. Past 2 years with last out winning turf sprinters, making the 3rd start off a layoff of 45 days or greater, 43%, 382 ROI. You've got one better.
Past year turf winner last out sprint Santa Anita. So not entirely different, but a couple little tweaks here and there. 9 for 16 with a 357 ROI. Now I understand 3 of those were this year. They're all this year, but 3 of them happen to be, I believe, Stormy Liberal, when he was really rock solid and you just continue to wheel him back. But at the same time, take those 3 out, you're still looking at 6 for 13. It's still a pretty darn good number.
Another horse that's versatile from a running style. Didn't love the field he beat last time out of open non-winners of 1 other than, but Anatolian Heat is in career form. I want to see what the Time Form US Pace Projector has in store for this race, because I have to be honest, I looked at it, don't agree. It's possible that Mythkal, the number 5, gets to the front. It's hard for me to see it. He trailed throughout in his most recent race at Los Al on the dirt. 2 starts back in a turf route. He was close to the pace in a race where he was completely overmatched by the then sharp Farhan, who came back to run 2nd in the Grade 1 Shoemaker with a 105 buyer. Boy, if he's going to be on the lead, this is going to be a glacial pace for a downhill turf sprint.
Yeah, and he's not the only part I disagree with. I can't imagine Tribal Fighter being the second one taking up the running. I know he's been forwardly placed in the past, but I think he's going to be more in that area where the 10 and the 2 are. I think the 2, law-abiding citizen, he's fresh off the long layoff. I think he's going to be forwardly placed. I think Anatolian Heat sits just off.
But we do agree that the pace should be moderate, if not slow. It might work against some of the closers in here. As for Mythkal, sure, the class relief in here is going to help him. He can throw out his last race. What's the case? Other than the class relief?
I suppose the case is, since he's gotten here to North America, he hasn't been allowed to go shorter distances sprinting on turf. That's really trying to make a case for him, because it's not like he hadn't run on turf overseas at the same time. I don't know. I don't have a lot of positive things to say about him.
I'm a big fan of the number 6, Eric the Trojan. He was as easy a winner as you're going to find in a $40,000 turf sprint at Delmar, 2 starts back. bumped at the start, saved ground, altered course, and won in ridden-out fashion. Last time out at Del Mar, again, just far back down towards the inside, altered course on the outside, came with a good run. Rocket Heat just wired that field. He galloped out great. There are two issues with Eric the Trojan. One, he's probably better at 5 than he is at 6.5. Two, there's a lack of pace up front.
I agree with both of those. I like this horse a lot. I don't think he wants any part of the distance. You see he's 0 for 4 and he's never sniffed the board at 6.5. The big thing is his 5/8 races at Del Mar, they're all awesome. And he's even overcome slow paces in the past. I think he's really a nice 5/8 kind of sprinter. I don't think he wants the distance.
The number 7 is Drummer. This horse is taking, I think, a pretty good class drop.
Sure.
He was in for 75 last time out. That race produced 3 next out winners. The winner of that race, Sawyer Sill, came back to win a non-winner of 3 other than with a 95 Beyer speed figure. But we haven't seen this horse since February. Maybe he'll be a little bit fresh off the layoff. He did show some speed 2 starts back in a rout. I'm not sure where this horse is right now. I wonder if this is just a starting off point.
Yeah, it's entirely possible you stretch him out at some point. But then again, you go back and look at that San Simeon. I know he was 30-1 that day, and I know he didn't do a lot of running. You look at the horses that he ran against, though. Betty's Bambino, we know, unfortunately, he only ran once every year and a half before he was finally put away for good. But he was unbelievable down the hill. And you see some of the other runners in there, Stormy Liberal, Richard's Boy. I don't know. Maybe he's one you want to use underneath. I wouldn't totally throw him out.
We like cutbacks going down the hill at 6.5 furlongs. The number 8 Simple Man fits the bill. He only has one real big fig, standout fig. It was 4 starts back where I thought he just got a perfect trip under Mike Smith to win. But then he was in against Blackjack Cat. We could obviously throw that race out. He was certainly not embarrassed. His last 2 races, I guess, are okay. And if you think he can turn back with his tactical speed and stay close to the pace, he has a chance for Gary Mandela.
This is the kind of horse that you always like to see. He's got some speed early going long, then you turn him back. He's not going to be forwardly placed, but maybe he's 3 or 4 lengths out of it, and he's got the bottom. My problem is you take out those 2 runs, 3 and 4 starts back. He's just not all that fast.
The old class master, the number 9 Home Run Kitten. He's a multiple graded stakes winner. A lot of changes here. Blinkers off. First time gelding for Peter Miller. Listen, he was in against Calculator. He's never been in this cheap in his life, but he's now in for a tag for 62.5, and Peter Miller seems willing to lose him.
Yeah, to me, that's almost a negative. I have to be honest. This is a horse. His best race wins in here. I mean, plain and simple. The problem is it's just been a long time since we've seen his absolute best. Don't completely discount him, though.
We've seen horses come down from Woodbine and do very well on turf in Southern California. And Holy Whirlwind is a Woodbine shipper, first time for Phil D'Amato. This horse also can show some sneaky speed, as he did last time, going gate to wire. Just a little slow on paper.
Slow on paper, and maybe I'm making too much of a formulator fact here for Phil D'Amato. For everything that he does that's so brilliant. Past 3 years, turf first after the trainer switch in sprints. He's 0 for 17. It's not a small sample size, but at the same time, it's not something that's overwhelming. A horse that's going to be a middling number, maybe that's one that you want to consider, but I don't love him.
We'd be remiss if we didn't mention the one also eligible in the race, and that's the number 11 Coastline, who, like Home Run Kitten, is dropping in class. Now, this horse at least has run for the tag before. Sadler ran him in the Eddie D last time out. I didn't think it was a bad performance. No. He was 11-1. He finished evenly. I will argue if he runs the Eddie D, he wins.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I picked him in the Eddie D. So, I mean, I clearly think that he's in form, and I think he's got a big chance in here. If he gets in, he's arguably the horse to beat.
He only needs 1 scratch. He's 9-2 on the morning line. Selection time for our Thursday formulator race of the day. You're going with the sharp number 4, Anatolian Heat, 7-2 on the morning line, Brice Blanc aboard.
You know what? You brought up the big thing that's a little bit of a concern. The field that he beat that day, there wasn't a lot in there. And also, if you just watch the tape, there wasn't a lot of running behind him. At the same time, and I know he popped back to his left lead at the end, down the hill, that can be a little bit weird. I thought he was really good, and I wonder if this is just a horse that's in raging form, and you just wheel him back and keep going. Strike while the iron's hot, basically.
If we weren't fined for picking also eligible horses, I would have Coastline on top. Yeah. Eric the Trojan, we mentioned all the things that's against him. Yeah. I do think he's sharp. I'm hoping he can be a little bit closer to the pace. I know the price is going to be right. He's 12-1 in this spot. It's a really evenly matched group. Yeah. Perhaps Eric the Trojan, if not to win, can spice up your exotics. Matt's going 4-2. He uses 11. The AE third 11. So if we take that out, 4-2-1, I'm going to go 6-2-4-3. But if Coastline gets into the race, he only needs 1 scratch, I'll go with him on top. If you're playing the Thursday Santa Anita card from home, please sign up to DRF Bets. When you do, a $300 sign-up bonus is yours immediately. And all you have to do is go to drf.com/fall and use the promo code FALL300. Approximate post time for the 6th at Santa Anita on Thursday. Your formulator race of the day is 3:34 Pacific. Best of luck.